All right, hi Wheaton North. This is Mr. Holtgren here to talk to you about some lab report basics. Here's the components of the lab report that we want you to include when you are working on these labs. There's 8 of them here. When you do your lab, you can take a screenshot of this, but make sure your lab report includes all 8 parts of this, otherwise you're not going to get a 4 or a 5 on your lab report. Okay, we're going to work through these one at a time. So just take some notes here, follow along. You can pause me, fast forward me, or rewind me as much as you need. The first thing you're going to include, the first 2 things really on our list are going to be your title and the member info for your group. Okay, so for your title, you want it to be specific. Okay, so some title that's going to relate or convey to the reader what your lab report is going to be all about. As far as member info goes, your group member names, what period you're in, what group number you're in. For the lab that we're going to be completing here for the properties of compounds, we want you to list what chemicals you have. Just essential basic information so we understand what your report is going to be about. All right, the third thing on our list here is the safety hazards. Okay, so anytime you're doing a chemistry lab, you want to make sure whoever's doing your lab or trying to repeat your lab would be aware of any safety concerns that they might have with the different chemicals that you're going to be using. Okay, so detail all potential safety hazards when working with your compounds and how to protect yourself from them. So not just what the potential dangers are, but what steps the person needs to take to protect themselves from any hazards that may exist. Okay, so if you do a Google search for MSDS for that chemical, it's going to pull up this nice spreadsheet or a data sheet that will tell you all the information that you need to fill that out. Okay, the next thing you're going to include is a material list. Okay, so anything that you're going to be using in the lab, you want to tell the person who's trying to repeat your lab exactly what equipment you use. So you have to be very specific. If you're going to use a beaker, you have to tell us what type of beaker. Okay, there's all kinds of different sizes. What I always tell my students is imagine that you have a really bright 7th or 8th grade student that is going to be doing your lab. Okay, so they're going to copy exactly what you did. So what you need to do is make sure that you include the appropriate equipment and list it out so that they know exactly what equipment they're going to be using. Okay, experimental procedure. Okay, so this is where you're going to list out step by step, what exactly you are doing to complete the lab. So this is the part you really have to stop and think about a little bit. Okay, so it's going to be a list format. So like step 1, step 2, step 3, etc. Okay, if you just number it 1, 2, 3, 4, that's fine. You're never going to use pronouns. So you're never going to say I did this or we did that. Okay, you're going to do it just like you're giving someone instructions. So think about the procedures that we've given you and the activities that we've already completed. Okay, we're just telling you exactly what we want you to do. Think about your variables. Okay, so when you are writing these procedures, think about what you're actually trying to achieve in this lab. Okay, so you're going to have one independent variable. That's the thing that you're controlling. That's the thing you're changing. You've got the dependent variable, so whatever you happen to be measuring. Okay, and then everything else you want to list as far as being controlled. So if you are not changing the temperature, you want to, let us know that you're doing it at room temperature. So just make sure that you think about those concepts and the variables when you're putting these procedures together. Here's an example. Okay, this is a little bit over the top, but a bad example if you wanted to give someone instructions on how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Okay, you might say put peanut butter on the bread. Okay, now if that person, or maybe it was an alien from another planet and they've never seen a peanut butter and jelly sandwich before, from your instructions they might do this. Okay, they may take that peanut butter and put it on the bread because that's what you told them to do. We want you to be more specific. So this would be a little bit better. Use a knife to spread 2 tablespoons of butter onto a slice of bread. Okay, and that's going to give you the desired result. Now we don't want you to be insanely specific. Okay, use common sense. You don't need to tell us with your right hand pour into the glass in your left hand. You don't have to tell us that. That's common sense obvious. Okay, but when you're doing your procedures, you do want to be really specific so that we know exactly what's going on, and again, so that really bright 7th, 8th grader can repeat that experiment. results. Okay, so you're going to collect data, okay, like we've done before, and you're going to put that stuff into a nice, beautiful either data table with headings, rows, columns, units, grids, the whole thing. We've done that before. Or sometimes you're going to have graphs, okay, and if you include a graph, you want it to be professional, nice looking with the title, axis, key, all of that stuff that we've already practiced. Post-lab analysis. If there are any questions, what you want to do is make sure you put in full sentences, good grammar, defend your answer. Okay, so make sure you're just presenting your information in a way that would be appropriate for an academic setting. And then the last part is your conclusion. Your conclusion is going to be a one-paragraph summary that's basically wrapping up your experiment. So you're going to restate the purpose and procedure. So essentially, this experiment was conducted in order to blah, blah, blah. Okay? Summarize overall results. So what did you find? Any similarities and differences from your exploration. So again, you're just going to focus on the highlights. Okay, we're looking at one paragraph, so you're not writing a novel right now. You're just trying to hit the main points. And if you did have any errors, that's fine. Okay, or if there was any problems with equipment or anything like that, you're going to include that in your conclusion. So that way, if someone's reading your report, they'll have an understanding, hey, that data looks wrong or something, what happened there, you're explaining yourself in the conclusion. Okay, so here's some sentence starters that you can change, but just an idea how you can start with the conclusion when you're writing it. All right, I just put in here a bad example and a good example. This would be a very bad lab report. Please don't do this. I'm pretty sure most of our chem teachers would give you a 0 if you did this, but untyped, messy, incomplete, vague. This has clearly got lots of problems with it. We're looking for something that's typed, professional, detailed, specific. Okay, again, the example I've given here, this is out of a professional journal, so we're not looking at anything quite this detailed and nice, and this is just a portion of it. But just to give you an idea, we're looking for something that's very easy to read, that's very organized, that's pleasing to look at, and it's easy for the reader to understand. Okay? If you guys have any questions, please see your teacher, go in for extra help, rewatch this video as much as you need to, and have fun writing up your lab reports.